judge lost his cool after Blake Lively and her mother got exposed in yet another jaw-dropping crime involving disturbing dirty acts together. Honestly, Blake might have just signed her own fate by accusing Baldoni, because now all these hidden skeletons are coming out, and they're way worse than anyone expected. And to top it off, it turns out her mom might have been pulling the strings all along, because in 2017, Blake Lively, known for her roles in Gossip Girl and A Simple Favor, launched her hair care brand Blake Brown, entering a market already flooded with celebrity-backed products. With promises of luxurious, all-natural ingredients, the brand was marketed as a game-changer in the beauty industry. Blake Brown quickly gained attention, with Lively's name and face bringing instant credibility to the line. Her followers trusted that a product backed by a Hollywood star would only offer the best. After all, wasn't Blake known for her impeccable taste and lifestyle? But as we know, not everything that glitters is gold. Behind the glossy exterior of the Blake Brown brand, however, the operation was more complicated than it appeared. Blake's mother, Elaine Lively, was not just a passive investor. She was deeply involved in the day-to-day workings of the company, acting as the co-founder and the head of quality control. This insider role, previously kept under wraps, meant that Elaine had significant influence over the product formulations and overall direction of the brand. Her leadership was seen as essential in the company's growth, but no one realized how much sway she had in shaping the brand's values. Blake's own public persona as an entrepreneur was often painted in soft, glowing terms, but those closest to the operation knew that it was Elaine who pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable in the business world. How much influence should a family member have when their decisions are jeopardizing public trust? The public, lured by the promise of all-natural, cruelty-free products, began to flock to Blake Brown, paying premium prices for what they believed to be high-end, organic hair care. Blake and her mother continued to build an empire, touting their brand's commitment to purity. The marketing materials showcased models with flawless hair, further solidifying the idea that these products were transformative. But behind the scenes, a darker reality was brewing. As Blake Brown grew, so did the number of complaints. Customers started reporting severe scalp reactions, ranging from intense dandruff to alarming hair loss. The shiny, perfectly curated advertisements failed to mention the side effects many were experiencing. How could a brand promising luxury and natural ingredients turn into a nightmare for consumers? Was anyone going to hold the Lively's accountable for what was becoming a PR disaster? In court, as the storm began to break, it became evident that the legal battles surrounding Blake Brown were just getting started. During the third trial session, allegations surfaced that the brand's products contained harmful chemicals, substances like formaldehyde and parabens, disguised under safe labels. These chemicals, known for their harsh and dangerous effects on hair and skin, were supposed to be absent from the products, yet documents and testimonies pointed to their inclusion in multiple lines. The courtroom drama unfolded with accusations that the Lively's had knowingly sold these harmful products to unsuspecting consumers, prioritizing profit over safety. The evidence was damning, and what had once been a well-polished image began to crumble. Could it be that Blake Brown, with its perfect image, was built on a foundation of lies and manipulation? What was the real cost of fame and profit when the public's trust had been so dangerously betrayed? Blake Lively had positioned herself as a woman who could do it all: actress, entrepreneur, and now a public figure who claimed to be advocating for the best of beauty. Yet, as the layers of her business began to peel away in the courtroom, it became clear that there was more to the story. For every glossy ad promoting luxury, there was an undercurrent of negligence, of shortcuts taken, and of a mother-daughter duo who had blurred the lines between beauty and deception. With each legal filing, it became harder to ignore the truth that the empire built on promises of purity had concealed something far more dangerous beneath the surface. What happens when the image we trust turns out to be a carefully crafted illusion, hiding toxic realities from the public. How can we ever truly trust celebrity endorsements again when the very products meant to improve our lives might be secretly harming us? The first cracks in the polished image of Blake Brown came when an anonymous employee stepped forward with explosive testimony that shook the brand to its core. In an affidavit submitted to the court, the former employee revealed startling details about the inner workings of the company, particularly regarding the leadership of Elaine Lively. According to this whistleblower, Elaine had directly ordered staff to overlook safety tests for new products and actively pushed for the use of cheaper, potentially harmful ingredients to cut costs while maintaining the brand's high-end pricing. This revelation was nothing short of damning. It painted a picture of a corporate environment where profit was prioritized over safety and consumer well-being. This wasn't simply an unfortunate oversight, it was a deliberate business strategy. How could a company that marketed itself as a champion of beauty and health be operating under such unscrupulous practices? The employees' claims were supported by a series of internal documents, which were presented in court as further evidence of Blake Brown's malpractice. These documents, once protected under the guise of trade secrets, detailed the use of harsh chemicals like formaldehyde and parabens, ingredients that are known to cause a range of health issues, from skin irritation to severe allergic reactions, and in some cases, even hair loss. Despite Blake Brown's marketing strategy touting its products as organic and cruelty-free, the reality was far from what the brand had led the public to believe. The documents showed that these chemicals were regularly included in their formulations, which raised serious questions about the company's commitment to transparency. How could a company that had built its entire brand on purity and natural ingredients be so negligent in its product formulation? Was consumer trust merely a marketing tool to justify higher prices? As the evidence mounted, so did the public outrage. The whistleblower's testimony provided an undeniable glimpse into the ethical compromises made by Blake and Elaine Lively in their pursuit of profit. The reality was harsh. Blake Brown was not just a beauty brand, it was a business built on deception. The public began to question how a mother-daughter duo, who had so publicly advocated for a better, more ethical way of doing business, could have knowingly participated in such a scheme. The court hearings took a darker turn when testimonies revealed just how deeply Elaine Lively was involved in the Blake Brown business. Elaine, a seasoned businesswoman, was more than just a figurehead or silent partner. She was the driving force behind the company's aggressive expansion. Internal sources and former employees disclosed that Elaine had played a crucial role in persuading Blake to launch the business in the first place. Her tactics, however, weren't grounded in altruism or a desire to improve the beauty industry. Instead, Elaine viewed Blake Brown as an opportunity to build an empire, one that would elevate the family's status and wealth. Blake, eager to make her mark in the entrepreneurial world, was convinced by her mother's promises of success, and together, they created what appeared to be a perfect synergy. But as the testimonies unfolded, it became evident that this collaboration was anything but harmonious. Was Blake truly an empowered businesswoman in her own right? Or had she been manipulated by her mother's ambitions? The court's focus shifted to the ruthlessness that defined the Lively's business strategies. Documents presented in the hearings revealed that Blake, far from being just the public face of the brand, was deeply involved in the decision-making process. She had signed off on price hikes that came despite the substandard ingredients used in Blake Brown's products. Rather than focusing on quality or consumer safety, Blake and her mother were solely concerned with maximizing profits. The accusations weren't just about negligence. They pointed to a calculated effort to deceive the public. Blake, who had carefully crafted a wholesome image, was now facing questions about her role in the exploitation of her own customers. How could someone with such a polished public persona be so deeply enmeshed in a business model that prioritized greed over integrity? As the case continued, it became increasingly clear that the Lively's had used their public image to manipulate the masses. Elaine, in particular, had positioned herself as a champion of women's empowerment, claiming that Blake Brown was a brand designed to help women feel confident and beautiful. Yet, in the courtroom, it became evident that this image was nothing more than a smokescreen, a way to disguise the reality of their exploitation. The brand, marketed as "for the people," was actually a business that targeted the working class while charging them exorbitant prices for products made with cheap, harmful ingredients. The contrast between the Lively's public-facing narrative and their internal operations could not have been more stark. Was their advocacy for women merely a marketing gimmick to justify their high prices and toxic practices? Or were they truly as committed to empowering women as they claimed? With each new revelation, the public's faith in Blake Brown continued to crumble. What had once been a brand that embodied elegance and luxury was now viewed as a money-grabbing operation that took advantage of its customers. As the Lively's true motivations were exposed, the company's carefully cultivated image unraveled. The jury, the public, and even the media began to question whether Blake and Elaine Lively had been using their privilege to exploit people at their most vulnerable. Could the Lively's survive this scandal? Or would Blake Brown go down as yet another cautionary tale of greed and deception in the celebrity business world? And as the trial reached its peak, one burning question remained. Would the Lively's be held accountable for the damage they had caused, or would they continue to operate with impunity?